You know, a revolution is brewing in medicine, but it's not happening in a hospital or even in a lab full of bubbling test tubes. Nope, it's happening inside a supercomputer. Today, we're going to cut through all of the noise surrounding one of the hottest topics in science, AI in drug discovery. We're going to find out what's really going on right now and what's just around the corner. Let's separate the hype from the reality.
First things first, let's just get a sense of this scale here. $2.6 billion. That's the absolutely staggering average cost to bring just one single new drug to market. It's a system that's just crying out for a better way. And it's not just about the money, it's about time. On average, it takes a decade and a half to get a drug from a scientist's initial light bulb moment all the way to your local pharmacy. This is the gigantic problem that AI has promised to solve. So what this means is that the future of medicine isn't just being discovered with beakers and burners anymore. It's actually being written line by line in code. It's a whole new era, and some people are even calling it the synthetic renaissance. So what in the world is the synthetic renaissance? Well, it's this big idea that AI and large language models are shifting from just being helpful little tools to becoming the main engine that actually creates new medicines. We're talking about a fundamental change in how drug discovery even happens. And this, right here, brings us to the very heart of the hype. We're seeing a whole new breed of biotech company. These AI-native startups weren't just started with AI, they were basically born from it. And they're promising to design brand new medicines completely from scratch. And believe me, they are popping up all over the place. You've got companies like Ternary Therapeutics in the UK using AI to invent something called molecular glues. Over in Israel, Generative Biotech is literally designing new therapeutic proteins that don't exist in nature. And right here in the US, Atomistic Insights is using AI to predict how proteins will twist and move. This is the absolute bleeding edge. And the claims they're making, they're just mind-boggling. We're not talking about tiny improvements here. The promise is to design completely new proteins, to slash development times, and to find potential new drugs at a rate that would have been completely unthinkable just a few years ago. Honestly, it sounds like something straight out of science fiction. And here's what that promise looks like in practice. The old way of getting a drug ready for testing takes, about 3 to 4 years? The new AI-powered timeline, it could be as short as 13 months. That kind of acceleration is exactly why investors and scientists are getting so excited. And it's a big but. Here's our first reality check. This quote is from Fiona Marshall. She's a top research head at Novartis, one of the biggest drug companies on the planet. And she's basically pouring a little bit of cold water on all that hype, saying, hey, this isn't the magic wand that some people are claiming it is. Which, of course, brings us to the big, crucial question. With all this money, all this hype, all these incredible promises, where are the actual drugs? Why aren't our pharmacy shelves overflowing with AI-designed medicines right now? Well, the answer is kind of surprising. AI is having a massive impact. It's just not in the way that you might think. See, the biggest wins for AI today aren't about discovering miracle cures. They're about helping the giants of the industry, big pharma, run their businesses smarter, faster, and way more efficiently. I mean, don't take it from me. Take it from Pfizer's CEO, Albert Bourla. He says the main reason they were able to boost their productivity so much wasn't some flashy new drug. It was the successful deployment of AI across their entire operation. And that productivity boost? It has a number attached to it. Pfizer thinks AI is going to save them between $750 million and a full $1 billion every single year. So think about that for a second. The first $1 billion impact from AI in pharma isn't a new blockbuster drug. It's just making the old system work better. So let's kind of put this side by side. The promise was glamorous, right? Designing brand new proteins, curing diseases we thought were undruggable. But the reality, at least for now, is way more practical. It's things like predictive maintenance on factory equipment, automating mountains of regulatory paperwork, and sifting through clinical trial data. It might be less flashy, but man, is it valuable. And all the major players are building their own AI engines to do exactly this. Pfizer has its Vox platform to speed up manufacturing. Eli Lilly has something called TuneLab to predict how molecules will act before they even make them. And AstraZeneca's IDA system is automating the heavy lifting of analyzing complex trial data. Now, when you have all this real-world application, it means the technology is growing up. It's not the Wild West of experimentation anymore. And that forces the hand of the people who make the rules. Their involvement is absolutely crucial if we're going to turn AI from a cool tool into a trusted part of our healthcare. And in what was a really big move, the European Medicines Agency and the US Food and Drug Administration, we're talking the two most powerful drug regulators in the world, they released joint guidelines. This is a huge signal that AI is no longer an experiment. It's now an official, serious part of the process. And they've laid out the ground rules. It really boils down to 4 key ideas. 1, AI has to be human-centric. 2, you have to base how much you watch it on how risky it is. 3, it has to follow all the existing scientific standards. And 4, you have to be crystal clear about what the AI is being used for. This is the new rulebook. And get this, there's a hard deadline. On August 2nd, 2026, the EU's Big AI Act officially kicks in. For any AI system that's considered high risk, this creates legally binding requirements. So for these companies, the clock is seriously ticking. The stakes aren't just scientific anymore, they're legal and they're financial. So where does all this leave us? We've got the hype colliding with reality, and we've got regulators setting the new rules of the game. It all means that the year 2026 is shaping up to be the ultimate litmus test for AI in medicine. Because at the end of the day, as expert Dr. Ramandarpal Singh puts it, after all the predictions and promises are made, the only thing that really matters is the data from those final stage clinical trials. That is the ultimate proof. And that is exactly why 2026 is such a huge deal. For the very first time, we have multiple drugs that were designed with AI entering these massive final stage trials. The big question on everyone's mind is, can they finally beat the industry's absolutely dismal 90% failure rate? The results from drugs like Takeda's zasocitinib will be the first real evidence we get. This is the moment of truth. It's either going to validate billions of dollars in investment, or it's going to send everyone right back to the drawing board. So the hype has been deafening, and the reality has been quietly, massively profitable. Now, those two worlds are about to collide in the highest stakes arena there is, human clinical trials. So the question is simple. In 2026, will AI finally pass its biggest test?